Hello there, everyone. Today on Colonial News Network, we are presenting a special report on the Boston Massacre.
To get the full story on this violent fight, we'll be interviewing Mr. James Thomas, a British soldier, Mr. Henry Williams, a bystander who got into the fight, and Mr. John Adams, a lawyer who was offered to defend the British soldiers involved.
The Boston Massacre happened on March 5th, 1770, when British Captain Thomas Preston went into the Boston's customs house and asked his guards to stay outside.
Some people were outside when the British soldiers came out, and they started throwing everything from the ground. A street fight began, and the soldiers opened fire on the crowd, killing 5 colonists.
Reports indicate that Private Hugh Montgomery got mad and shot his musket at the crowd.
And the rest is literally history.
Today we will be interviewing 3 people who are playing a big role in this situation. Hugh Montgomery, the first soldier to fire his gun, John Adams, a prominent Boston lawyer who will be defending the soldiers involved during their trial, and a local man who witnessed this.
Now we'll be interviewing Mr. James Thomas, a British soldier. Hello, Mr. Thomas. So tell me, how do you feel about this incident today?
It was horrifying.
Can you explain a bit more?
Well, I went over to help the soldier who was guarding the customs house, and then mobs of angry citizens started attacking me.
How did they attack you? Were they armed?
They threw ice, oyster shells, and pretty much everything on the ground. And they even threw clubs and hit us with them continuously. There were about 300 of them, and only 8 of us. We tried to make them stop. We shouted orders and threatened them, but they wouldn't stop.
Did you feel threatened by the people?
Yes, they outnumbered us, and they were getting violent. They were shouting and getting more and more out of control. We could have been hurt or killed if we didn't shoot.
But the people had no weapons.
That doesn't mean they weren't dangerous.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. We appreciate your being with us. We go now to an interview I recorded earlier with Mr. Henry Williams, who was in the crowd, saw the entire fight, and even took part of it himself, interviewing Mr. Henry Williams. Mr. Henry Williams, can you tell me in your own words what happened today? What did you see and what did you do?
Well, I was with my friends, and we saw what was happening, and we just acted.
Can you please say more?
Well, I helped my friends because I thought about everything that the British have been doing to us, and it just triggered.
What have the British been doing to you in your own opinion?
Well, they taxed us without letting us have any say in the government. They raised our tax on tea and sugar, so basically we're paying more and more to this government, but we have no say in how that money is used because we have no representation in the government. And when they closed the customs house, it made me want to join the fight. Everyone was so fed up. It was like we had all been angry for so long and we didn't know it. This was the last straw.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
We are now joined by Mr. John Adams, a lawyer here in Boston. Mr. Adams, thank you very much for joining us today. Many people are wondering why you decided to defend the British.
I am defending them because I believe that they should have a fair trial.
Do you believe that they were right to shoot into the crowd?
What I believe is not important. It's what the facts and evidence tell us.
Mr. Adams, no lawyer in the entire Boston area is willing to take this unpopular case. Not one! Are you concerned that your community, your friends, family, other people in Boston will criticize you?
Listen, you just heard both sides of the story. The soldiers thought that their lives were at stake. The citizens of Boston feel like they have no rights and are essentially slaves to the British government. I have to take this case. I think people will view me as a man who puts principles first. I want everyone to understand, especially the British, that America has a fair legal system. These men could be executed if they're proven guilty. Everyone deserves a fair trial. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty.
Thank you, sir, for your time. We wish you the best as you take on this huge responsibility. So there you have it, folks. 2 sides to this horrible tragedy, which will be represented in the courts. We will be reporting more to you.
Thank you for watching Colonial News Network. See you next time for another cause of the American Revolution.